Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. How you all doing? My name is Bilikis. It's good to be back with another tutorial. If today is your first time of checking out this channel, you're welcome. Please make sure you subscribe and check out my other channels, Pattern Drafting with Bilikis and Bilikis Kitchen. On social media, follow me on Instagram, Bilikis Signatures, and on Facebook, Sewing Innovations. For our sewing tools and online classes, use the contact number on the screen or in the description box below to get to us. Even for the physical classes here in Lagos too. That's Bilikis Signatures Fashion School. For this tutorial, I'm making use of this Mikado fabric. I have 3 yards here. Now let's quickly go to the sketch. This is what the dress looks like. This is the front and the back. It's going to have the bishop collar, as it's popularly called, with some ruffles at the upper part, which is also easy to make. Then it's just an A-line dress, which is flared. Then ruffles at the lower part, puffy hand. It could be long, 3/4 or short, depending on your preference. Then we have some ruffles on the dress, both the front and the back. So it could be 1 layer, 2 layers, depending on how much fabric you have and your preference. So then another thing you need to determine is the length of the dress. For me, I want the length to be 40 inches. So that means I will have to divide it. So the upper part here, the main dress could be 31 inches, while the lower parts could just be 9, or it could be 8 and this 32, depending on how I want it. So right now, what do you need for this tutorial? You need your basic sleeve, which is this. I'll put the link on how to make your basic bodies and basic sleeve in the description box below. Then also you need your basic body. So here I just use my half scale basic bodies because we are going to just use it as a guide. Then another thing I want to stress is the neck region. That's why I left this side. For the neck region, it depends on your size, because since we are having a fitted collar, so you don't want something too loose or too tight. So like for me, I made use of the width of 3¼ and you see this is the nape. I just made use of 3¼ but for someone that is like size 42, you could make use of 3 inches, and a smaller person make use of 2¾ yes, so that you have it accurate. This 3 inches or 3/4 is not for everyone, but for me, because I'm a plus size, I'm making use of 3/4 inch in width. And then for the depth, I made use of 3 inches. Then for the back, I made use of 1 inch or 3/4, depending on your preference. So that is it. Another thing you need to do is, for the collar, just measure whatever you have. First, the front, just measure it round, take your time. So here I have 5 inches, just note it, or you just measure after cutting your fabric and joining the shoulder, then the back. For the back, I have like 3½ with 1 bar. So here, 3½ inches plus extra 1 bar. So that is it. I just have to stress that part. So with this now, I'm ready to cut out the dress. So let's start. Right now, I've folded the fabric, as you can see. So, and then place the pattern on it on fold. So what you are just going to do is first to note the length we are working with, which is 31 inches. So I'm going to add ½ an inch to join to the ruffles to make it 31. So let me just use half of my hand, which is 9 to be accurate. So here I have 31½ and then mark a line at that point. The next thing I'm going to do now is to know the extension of the flare. Just use your hip measurement to do that. For instance, my hip measurement is 48. When I divide by 4, I'm going to have 12. So just add about 3 inches to 4 to it. So if I have 3 inches to 12, that will be 15 plus 1 inch seam allowance, that will be 16 inches. And then I'm going to connect here. But if you feel the flare is not okay, you can add extra 1 inch to it. It depends on your preference. So I'm just going to connect now from this edge. Seam allowance has been added to the pattern outward here. It's as easy as that. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to make a curve here, or else you'll be having the sides coming out this way. So as a guideline, you could just take from this point, or just come up by 2.5 inches or 2. So here I have 22.5. I could just come to the area of the armhole and 2.5. Okay, good. So at this point, then I'm just going to curve it inward. Having gotten it out, this is what I have. Can you see that? So this will now be for the front, but we still have the back neckline and the back armhole. You don't need to worry about that. So I can remove this pattern. So looking at it is looking like a flare already. Can you see that? So if you want more, you can add more flare, but this is just good on the average. So what I'm going to do is to fold again and then place it on it to cut out with half an inch seam allowance inclusive. Use this to cut out the back, leaving the half an inch zipper allowance, although you are just going to have a loop in it. So the next thing I'm going to do is this. So this is the front. So this is the back that the seam allowance has been added. I'm going to split that up. Good. So this is the back and this is the front. The last thing we are going to do on this front is to place back this pattern. Remember, we used it to cut the back. So first I'm going to remove the front neckline and the front armhole, then place it back on it this way and then cut it out on it. So the next thing now is to cut out the sleeve and the ruffles at the lower part. To cut out the sleeve, so all I did was to just fold fabric 1, 2 and then fold again, so that we have 2 sleeves. So for the sleeve, I will just make it like 20-21 inches because I don't want it to get to my wrist. So I will place your pattern here. You can either use your long sleeve or short sleeve, anyone is fine. So here I have 21, so which is okay. So what I'm now going to do is to just, let me see what I have on fold. I have about 15 inches. So you can have it more than this because the more fabric you fold, the more more puffiness you will have. But I think I'm okay with it. I don't want it to be too bulgy since it is a short sleeve because I want to pull it up. So I have 15 inches here. So all I have to do is to connect to the end. That is it. So you will need to come up here because we want to make it circular as possible. So as a guideline, so since this is 21, so just move again, and then you can just make sure the measurement is equal. This is what I have, and the sleeve is ready. So don't forget to notch the crown. So this is what my sleeve looks like. So all I have to do next is to trim off the front armhole, place it on one side and trim that off. So the sleeve is also ready. The next thing is the ruffles, which I have cut out. Don't forget the front armhole now. I've trimmed that off. This is now what the front neckline looks like the back, which is different from the back. You can see, so the armhole has been done. So for the ruffles, all I did is to just cut out 3 yards of fabric by 10 inches. Remember, I said I want the lower part to be 9, so I just cut out 10. I'll be overlocking all the fabric, so I'll just fold half for the lower parts, join half to the main dress. So here I have 10 inches. Can you see 10 inches by 3 yards of fabric? Yes, because gathering of fabric takes a lot of fabrics, and the fuller the better. So I just cut out 3 yards by 10, and also cut out 3 yards by 10, because when I measured the lower part of the dress, I have about 34, which is almost 1 yard of fabric. So to make it fuller, for one side I will need times 3 of that 1 yard. So that's why I cut out 3 yards by 10 for just the front, and 3 yards by 10 for the back. So trust me, I've exhausted all my 3 yards of this Mikado fabric. So having done that, now the ruffles, the main dress is ready, the sleeve too is ready. I want to draft this collar we have here. So all we need is the measurements we took initially. For the back we have 3.5 inch plus extra 1 bar. Then for the front we have 5 inches. So that's what we will be using to grab the collar. Now all you have to do is to just draw a straight line and then label front, back. So first we are going to insert the front. So just pick up a point for the front here. Then we insert the 5 inches. So that is it. Then you insert that of the back, which is 3.5 plus extra number, which is here. So that is it. So the next thing you are going to do now is, since we have the front and back measurements, for the front area just go up by 1/2 inch. So that is 1/2 inch. Then you connect in a curvy way so can you see what we have? So now it's from this point to this point. So having done that, you are now going to come up by 1 inch. What we are going to use to make the collar is just 1 inch, because remember it's going to have the ruffles, and you don't want it to be too high and too long that is going to be uncomfortable for you. So by standard now, we'll just make the collar 1 inch, and then the ruffle should be around 3/4 to 1 inch too, so that it will be fine on you. So at this point now, you go up by 1 inch. Make sure it's not straight. You just tilt it to be at angle 45. Can you see the way I placed the measuring tape? You see, so 1 inch is here. Good. I'll come here 1 inch. At the back, 1 inch. Let me check how I made the curve. That was from here. So I'll come to this point. Make the curve again. The way it is. This part is going to be straight. And this is what we're going to have. So this part is going to be on fold. This will be on fold. And then we are just going to cut out and add 1/2 inch all around. Time for us to start sewing up the dress. All I did was to overlock the fabric. For instance, this is the sleeve. So looking at the sleeve, what I did was to overlock it, the lower part. So all I have to do is to fold to fasten the elastic. Then for the main dress, this is the front. So for the back, all I did was to overlock it because there's an opening at that point. So the first thing I will do is to sew up the back. Remember, we left half an inch seam allowance there. So just leave about 7 to 8 inches from the edge. Between 7 to 8 inches is fine. From that point, I'm just going to sew half an inch downward, then press the seam open. After doing that, then I will have to join the shoulders together before we fix the collar. After joining the shoulders together, I can just fix the sleeve, attach the sleeve to it, but don't sew the side yet so that it will be easy to fix in the collar. So having done that, this is what the collar looks like after cutting it out. Can you see? Then I added half an inch all around. Remember, it's on fold. Opening it up, this is what I have. So what I did was to add interfacing to it to make it stable. So both sides. So just get a tiny strip like this. Can you see? Now this will be the upper part, because this part is smaller while this part is wider. So this will be the upper part. So all we have to do now is this: fold in half an inch here, half an inch here, and then you now have to sew the half an inch seam allowance all this way, coming down and stop here. But because we will need a button at the back, so just get this strip, fold it this way, and then you put it inside on one part. It should be inside, so by the time we bring it out, it will be on the outside. But looking through our illustration here, this collar has ruffles. So all I did was to get a long strip of fabric, as you can see that. So I just cut it by 2 inches. So I cut out like ×3 of this length. What you now have to do is this, because we want to have the ruffles on the outside. So the 2 inches, I folded the raw edges here and this side, because we are going to pleat it to have something like this. Can you see? This is what we want to have. But in case you have enough fabric, you can just cut out like 2.5 to 3, then just fold it this way to gather it up. You can even use an organza fabric to spice it up. Now, having done that, what you are now going to do is this. You can just do it on one side first before joining it to the other part. So now you need to pleat this. Can you see? Can you see the way I place this? So this is the right side. The right side has to be finished on the right side of the dress. So you start first. Can you see? So you just pleat it until you exhaust this into the collar. So once this is sewn to one side, then you can now place this back on it and then sew it the same way I've explained initially. So I'm just going to do that. And here I have another long strip of fabric. I just cut out 3 inches, which will be for this ruffles here. I won't be able to have 2 layers because of the shortage of fabric I have. So I'll just be having 1 layer. So I cut out 3 inches here. So I have 2.5 left because I folded in half an inch for the raw edges, and this would now be attached to the dress. So I just make it as long as possible. Then for the lower part, remember I cut out 6 yards, 3 yards for the front and 3 yards for the back. So all I did is to just join it up, and you see how I joined it. Join it on both sides to make a long strip of fabric. After that, I just overlock the upper part and then hem the lower part. So this is what it looks like. Can you see? So that is it on that. So let me quickly finish this dress, then we'll go to the collar. I have attached the back and then attach the sleeve, but as I said, do not sew up the side so that it will be easy for us to fix the collar. So this is what the back looks like. So can you see the back? So I left the 7 inches to 8 inches, then press it open. So can you see how nice that is? So this is how I pressed it open on the wrong side. So having done that, let us go to the collar. So as I've explained, this is the wrong side of the collar. So what I did was to pleat. Remember to leave the seam allowance. You start from the actual starting point to the end. Leave the seam allowance, do not sew on it. So after pleating it, this is what I have. So on the right side, it will be something like this. Can you see? So on this right side, that is where you now have to fold before joining to the other one. Another thing is I have fixed the loop here, not on these ruffles, below it. So the next thing I will do now is to put this on the wrong side, place this on it. So we are going to sew on the actual seam allowance we sewed on. This is what we have. So this one will be finishing on the right side. You just fold it in. Can you see? So just take it half an inch, continue on the initial seam we had, and then finish it up on the other side. Remember to fold the front. Right now I finished the collar and I brought it on the right side. This is the wrong side, so I make sure I notched it, then bring it out, give it a good press. So this part is going to be on the front and this part will be on the back. So what we are going to do now is this is the dress, this is the front part. So this place is finishing on the right side, so that means we are just going to take this wrong side, match it up this way. This is the right side of the dress. So with the crease, I know where the center front is, match it up. If you have measured correctly, everything is just going to match to the back. Can you see that? Can you see how accurate that is? So what you are going to do now is to sew up the half an inch all around. So I'll take to my sewing machine now, start sewing it all around. So when you are through, you now have to bring it up and then finish it on the right side. Finish attaching the collar and you can see how beautiful that looks. So I finished it on the right side. This is what the back looks like. So I'm just going to put a button here. This is the opening. So this is it, and it looks beautiful already. Then the sleeve, looking at it, I've closed up the sides now, as you can see. Then what I did is to fold in 3/4 inch, whereby I'm going to pass through the elastic. So I left an opening here, so I'm just going to pass the elastic on both sides of the sleeve. So the dress is really taking shape. The next thing we are going to do now is to fix the ruffle on the lower part. How do you do that? This is on the right side, the dress. Just attach one end where you sew it up this way. Just attach this way. Now I'm turning it to the wrong side. So you're going to be sewing in half an inch because that was the seam allowance we left. And so then you take the other side. It's so much, but trust me, by the time you attach it to the dress, everything is going to look full and beautiful. Then small. Then attach this other side. So the next thing I will do is to just gather it up, get the middle of this, attach the middle of the dress, and then you are just going to pleat randomly. So pleat randomly all around, and then turn it to the right side and give it a good press. Guys, the dress is ready and it's looking so beautiful. I really love the collar, the sleeve, and the dress itself. Can you see that? I'm then showing you the back. This is what it looks like at the back. So with the button, can you see that? So that's what it looks like. Now for the ruffles, because the fabric I use, it will just be too busy for it, so I decided to ignore these ruffles at the front and the back. But I'm going to explain how you are going to do that. So let me quickly explain that. So how you have to do is, before you join the side of your dress, make sure after the shoulder and the collar, just keep it open this way. Then the strip of fabric I told you I made, something like this, 3 inches, and then hem one side. So you have to close it up to have a closed strip like this. So having done that now, let us now determine where you want the ruffles to be. So you can just do like 3/4 inch from your shoulder region. You might have attached your sleeve or not. Do the same thing here. Now the guide for it to go from the front to the back, just you can use your bust point as a guideline. Like mine is between 11 and 11.5. So all I'll do is to measure from the shoulder 11 inches. Come here, and then you can make a curve. So that is how you go about the ruffles. Can you see that? So you measure the same thing at the back. So you can just make the back 1 inch more so that it goes down, or you can just use the same measurements. Let me see. And you have something like this. So this is how you are going to do your pleats. The next thing is now to place your pleats this way. One side at the shoulder region, the other one at the other shoulder region. This is the right side. So that you'll be sewing on the wrong side this way. Then you are just going to pleat all around. You pleat all around that marking you've made. And you see that after doing that, once you do that all around, then you turn to the right side to have something like this, and then you top stitch all around what you have gathered. So that is it on how to do that. If this tutorial has been helpful, please give me a giant thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I remain your girl Bilikis. Bye guys.